الله 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 ما لنا مولى سوى الله 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 الله.
Hold firmly onto the rope of Allah. The rope of Allah is the direction and guidance, the Quran and the Sunnah, believing in Tawheed, doing what you're ordained, staying away from what you're prohibited. A rope that spares you from going astray. It saves you from the path of irja and the modernist and the mumayya. It's to save you from losing the path on your journey of Tawheed until you meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah didn't test you to doom you. As a muwahhid, He tried you to draw you closer to Him, to better you. He tested you to purify you and purify the ranks from impurities, like gold needs heating to purify it. Keep the mention of Allah fresh on your tongue and hold fast onto the rope of Allah.
ربي أنت حسبي ومزيل للضلال.
Allahu latifun bi'ibadah. Matters are not out of control in your personal life or matters pertaining to the overall status of this ummah. You drain yourself worrying about future matters of ghaib, when all you have to do is ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to spare you from them in full yaqeen and sleep with no worries. Prior to a problem, never worry, because it's in the ilm of the ghaib of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and your dua is your armor and your shield. And if a trial were to befall, it would, no worries, because it would be intertwined with the lutf of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so you can handle them. How many times have you heard people say this, if this happened to me, I wouldn't be able to handle it. The same matter happens to them, and they can handle it with the lutf of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they're able to handle it and more. They threw Yusuf alayhi salam in the well. He's physically hanging on to his life. Any moment he may die, he slip and fall and die. He's patient, but he needs solace and comforting. And the lutf of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala descends on him in that critical moment. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَأَوْحَيْنَا إِلَيْهِ لَتُنَبِّئَنَّهُمْ بِأَمْرِهِمْ هَذَا. Everything will be okay. Allah inspired to him. One day you're going to tell them about this. مِحْنَةً مَعَهَا التَّسْلِيَةِ. Life consists of 2 days. One's for you, one's against you. That's life. Be patient and firm on those days that are against you. And with that, both days will end up being for you. After the well, Yusuf alayhi salam was tested in the house of the Aziz with the wife of the Aziz. Then prison. That only made him more resilient, more patient, more firm. And after that patience and reliance on Allah and iman came the tamkeen. وَكَذَلِكَ مَكَّنَّا لِيُوسُفَ فِي الْأَرْضِ. Allah didn't test you to doom you. As a muwahhid, He tried you to draw you closer to Him, to better you. He tested you to purify you and purify the ranks from impurities, like gold needs heating to purify it. Keep the mention of Allah fresh on your tongue and hold fast onto the rope of Allah. وَاعْتَصِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ جَمِيعًا وَلَا تَفَرَّقُوا وَاعْتَصِمُوا بِاللَّهِ هُوَ مَوْلَاكُمْ فَنِعْمَ الْمَوْلَى وَنِعْمَ النَّصِيرُ. Notice the slight difference between those two very similar verses. One says, hold firmly onto the rope of Allah. وَاعْتَصِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ. The other says, hold fast to Allah. وَاعْتَصِمُوا بِاللَّهِ. Approximately 20 years ago, my students came earlier than usual to pick me up for one of the Bulugh al-Maram classes. I was giving them at a local university. They came early. They said, let's go to the lake so we can do some tubing. I said, we have class. We don't want to miss it. They said, we'll make it, inshallah. We went. And for those who don't know, the idea behind tubing is to lay on a floating tube and grab 2 ropes that are tethered to the boat, and the boat tows you away. To make it fun and exciting, the driver may speed and swerve so that the person holding on the rope slips off, and they go around and pick him up. Sometimes they compete who holds on longer. They said, Sheikh, it's your turn. It's a deep lake with no shore in sight. I said, I don't know how to swim. They said, if you slip, just try your best to stay afloat for 30 seconds. We'll come back around and get you. It's my students, and I'm sure back then they didn't want me dead. And they insisted. I grabbed the ropes, and the driver swerved left and right. He kept making sharper and sharper swerves, higher speed. At one point, I was flying in the air, and I never let go. Every one of them slipped off but me. They gave up. And I climbed back in the boat. They were baffled as to how the least experienced one out of them held on to the end. One of them kept analyzing why they were not able to get me off, to slip off. And as we headed off the lake into the car, I said, I got it. They said, what? He said, I know why the Sheikh never let go. They said, you're still dwelling over that? He said, it's his life. We hold on the rope and we're relaxed because we can swim. We may even enjoy falling off. In the back of his mind, his life depends on it, so he's holding on with all his might, he's not letting go. That may be true. The point being, holding on to the rope of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala should be much more firm than holding on and any rope that may save your life, without comparison, because letting go of the rope of Allah is an ultimate khusran, an ultimate misery and catastrophe, and an eternal one. وَاعْتَصِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ. Hold firmly onto the rope of Allah. The rope of Allah is the direction and guidance, the Quran and the Sunnah, believing in Tawheed, doing what you're ordained, staying away from what you're prohibited. A rope that spares you from going astray. It saves you from the path of irja and the modernist and the mumayya. It's to save you from losing the path on your journey of Tawheed until you meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The other verse is slightly different. وَاعْتَصِمُوا بِاللَّهِ. Hold fast to Allah without the rope mentioned there. That's the protection, the power, the weaponry, the armor that you need on this path. Like what? Like tawakkul and sabr and dua and istighatha and refuge. What you need in difficult times. وَاعْتَصِمُوا بِاللَّهِ is knowing He will save you no matter how high the currents are. Knowing that He is your shield. Knowing in yaqeen to the highest degree that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is your protector, and He protects the believers, the ones you love. إِنَّ اللَّهَ يُدَافِعُ عَنِ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا. Knowing there's no power or might but in Allah. Elevating yourself above reliance on all the unreliable and placing your trust on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Firmly believing أَنَّ مَا أَصَابَكَ لَمْ يَكُنْ لِيُخْطِئُكَ وَمَا أَخْطَأَكَ لَمْ يَكُنْ لِيُصِيبُكَ. The divine decree that whatever befalls you could have never passed you, and whatever passed you could have never befallen you. You need strength on this journey because it's going to be difficult. وَاعْتَصِمُوا بِاللَّهِ gives you the boost and spares you from the weakness that infiltrates the hearts of some, that causes them to veer off this path. Traveling on any path, you need a map and directions. You need the map and directions to know how to reach your destination. That's وَاعْتَصِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ, the directions. You also need security and protection and encouragement and inspiration, the defense mechanism to survive the journey, and that is وَاعْتَصِمُوا بِاللَّهِ.
يا فارس القدس هيا تعجل وشمر عن الزند حرا أبيا لساح المنايا صراعا ترجل وقارع بصدرك ريحا عتيا تناديك أحجار قصى الطهارى فلبي النداء بكرة وعشيا.